In a quiet town near the hills lived a man named Daniel. Once a marathon runner, his career ended after an accident left him with a permanent limp. He lived alone on the edge of town, filled with silence, pain, and regret. Every morning he sat on his porch, coffee in hand, staring at the sunrise. He didn't talk much. The only sound was the wind and his thoughts. One cold morning, Daniel heard scratching at his door. Opening it, he saw a thin, injured dog, muddy and limping, but with eyes full of hope. He almost shut the door, but paused. Something in that dog's eyes felt familiar, like someone who had also fallen but hadn't given up. Daniel let the dog in. He named him Shadow. Healing together. Day by day, they healed together. Daniel cleaned Shadow's wounds, gave him food, talked to him. In return, Shadow stayed by his side like a loyal friend. When Daniel limped, Shadow walked beside him. Please. One day, Shadow dropped a stick at Daniel's feet, ready to play. Daniel smiled for the first time in months. It was the beginning of something new. The first steps. Soon, Daniel started walking again, with Shadow at his side. First, just to the mailbox. Then down the road. Then a full mile. They became a familiar sight in town. The man who once ran like the wind, and the dog who walked with him. One day, Daniel saw a flyer pinned to a board. Hillside 5K. All abilities welcome. He stared at it for a while. That night he said, "What do you think, buddy? One last race?" Shadow wagged his tail like it was a yes. Training again. Training was tough. His leg hurt. The road was long. Some days he wanted to quit. But whenever he slowed down or sat in pain, Shadow would gently nudge his hand, as if saying, "We've come too far to stop." They trained every morning, even in the rain. The townspeople watched in quiet support. Whispers turned to wah. Race day. The morning of the race arrived. Daniel stood at the starting line, Shadow by his side. Around him were runners of all kinds, old, young, disabled, determined. The starter's gun fired. They began. The struggle. At first it went well, but halfway through, Daniel's leg gave out. He dropped to one knee, breathing hard, sweat pouring down. He looked up. The finish line felt miles away. Shadow sat next to him, eyes calm, patient. Daniel whispered, "I don't know if I can." He remembered what his old coach once said. "It's not about how fast you finish. It's that you finish." Daniel stood up, slowly. Shadow wagged his tail. They kept going. The final stretch. The last mile was uphill. Daniel pushed forward, pain in every step. His body screamed to stop, but his heart said no. The finish line came into view. The crowd cheered. Shadow barked, running just ahead, encouraging him. With one final push, Daniel crossed the line. The crowd stood in silence, then erupted in applause. He didn't win, but he finished. A new beginning. Daniel became a coach for kids with disabilities. He taught them not how to win, but how to try. Shadow remained by his side, always. Daniel often said, "The race doesn't define you. The courage to finish does."